Hi, so I wanted to film another video and talk more about schizoaffective disorder bipolar type, which is an illness that I've been struggling with since 2019. In 2016, I was hospitalized for bipolar disorder 1, and then in 2019, my diagnosis changed to schizoaffective disorder bipolar type. And I've been treated in Alaska, I've been treated in New Mexico and also LA. And I feel like I've come to a pretty good point in my life where I think I'm on my forever medications. So, medications that really don't have a lot of side effects and medications that have a lot of positive benefits. And I think I finally found, how long has it been? It's been 10 years. So I think I finally found the medications that work for me and something that I can be regulated on and treated for. And, but there are lots of struggles that come with it. I think I've counted my hospitalizations. I've been hospitalized about 16 times, and six of those times were just from last year, which is a lot. And usually it's just once a year, maybe once every 2 years. But last year was particularly bad, and I think moving a lot, losing a lot of jobs, having a lot of stress really provoked a lot of mental health symptoms, and that caused me to go to the hospital quite often. But I wanted to talk about kind of reorientating the negative aspects of mental health. So, particularly when you struggle with delusions, hallucinations, um, mood disorder symptoms like mania, hypomania, depression. And I wanted to kind of orient this video to give hope. So, if you are in, if you have an illness like schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, bipolar disorder, depression, and you struggle with symptoms on a daily basis, um, I just wanted to say that you're not alone. There are many people with these illnesses, and even if there's stigma, there are resources out there to help you. There are people who want to help you and listen to you. There are people who love you and people who wish the best for you. And I wanted to talk more about higher education with these illnesses. So, um, I am someone who comes from a very academic background. So, Asian families and communities usually value higher education. And in my family in particular, I come from a Korean background, but my sister was valedictorian in high school, and then she did a dual bachelor's in physics and math in college, and then she did a dual PhD in physics and I believe it's computational math science and engineering. So, and then now she's doing, I believe, her second postdoc, so at a national lab. So, having that kind of standard in my life is very stressful. It's very conflicting because you're always being compared to a certain standard that um, you're striving for, and it's really hard to come to terms when you fail. So I I don't think I'm a failure because I know compared to um, the illness that I have and compared to how much effort I put in, I know I'm doing my very best, and I know that with the resources I have, with the experience that I have, I couldn't be in a better position. So I'm really grateful for the people who have helped me on the way. But when I think about, the plans I've had for myself and failures, being like In undergrad, I was double majoring in music education and cello performance, and I wanted to be a music teacher, like a public music, high school music teacher. And that was my dream since high school. I wanted to be a teacher since middle school, but I wanted to be a high school teacher since high school. And when that didn't come through and I graduated a Bachelor of Arts instead, I felt like a failure. And I felt like um, I'm incapable of making plans and sticking to them. I felt like I worked really hard for something that didn't have an output and didn't have a result. And I felt kind of distraught that I couldn't keep up with my studies. But, that changed, when I applied for graduate school. I applied for graduate architecture school. I took some prerequisite courses in psychology, chemistry, and statistics, and then applied to University of New Mexico. And I actually only applied to one university because if I moved anywhere in the world, it would have been. I'm from Alaska, but this was during COVID as well. So if I moved anywhere in the world, it would have been New Mexico. So I only applied to one school, and I said, if I get in, then I'll move. If I don't, then I'm just gonna quit school. So, because I was at that time doing a second bachelor's in psychology, but I got in, so I moved to New Mexico, worked on my master's of architecture for a few years, but then mental health got in the way. I also struggle with erotomania, so having delusions about people out of of higher status in romantic relationships. So I struggle with that as well. So that got in the way, and then just symptoms about like delusions and hallucinations, like struggling with my sister, struggling with certain people in my life. Um, I'll probably go into more of a story detail in a separate video, but just specific people in my life that, honestly, if I look back now, I don't think they were causing any harm. But in my perspective of while being sick, I think I felt that I was in a position of being harmed or targeted. So I was dealing with that. So I didn't finish. I dropped out, and then I took a semester of a free semester, trial semester of clinical mental health counseling, thinking I'd want to be a counselor in New Mexico. But I had a really bad professor, and I remember I feel like she was grading me on formatting, like APA formatting, rather than the content of what I was actually writing about. And I felt that when she did grade, she would say conflicting things or contrasting things about from what she said previously. And I just did not have a good experience at that university. So I dropped that program. And then after dropping, I moved on to another program. And this kind of goes into I studied arts administration for several months. And then, mental health stuff came up again. But, anyways, this kind of comes up with using higher education as a means to balance out mental health. So, like having a negative and balancing it out with a positive. So, I have schizoaffective, but I have this degree. Or I'm working on this, or I'm studying this. And it felt like when I am studying, it feels like I'm really working towards a big goal in my life. And it feels like I'm really making good progress, and I'm doing well, and I'm proving to other people that I'm capable. I have future plans. I am just on top of things, and it feels really good to be in higher education. But when I started struggling last year, I was sick for almost the entire year, from February all the way till November, December. I guess February to December, almost the entire year. And off and on, and then I was hospitalized many times. But that year in particular, it felt like even when I drop out, even when I change paths, change majors, nothing was working out, and I couldn't focus. I'm usually a really good writer. I couldn't write anything that was coherent. I couldn't process words the same. I couldn't pay attention. I didn't have motivation. Like, I remember I had this really big essay to write, and I couldn't figure out how to break it down into deadlines. I couldn't figure out what I needed to get done. I couldn't figure out what to write about, or how to research, or the motivation to get the readings done, things like that. And I really struggled with those classes at Southern Utah, and which was strange because Southern Utah, in my view, is not a very good university, like compared to University of New Mexico or like a standard public school university. It was an online school, and I kind of I gravitate towards online school, but I also slightly look down on it. So I know in-person universities are much better, but I do see the value in online. So I did try Southern Utah for I guess the time when I was sick, so February to December. I just noticed that it was exactly the same time period as when I was sick, and maybe this has to do with that degree, I'm not quite sure. But I really struggled with the law class, and grant writing, and and some accounting class, and but it it varies. So I think usually I'm a good student, and if I just try hard, if even if it's hard class, if I just try harder, I usually get a good grade. But for some reason, no matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't get past these courses. And I think that was a major turning point in my mental health view of higher education. And then I started to see, like, oh, I may be too sick for this at this time. And it's important to say at this time because higher education, I still value it, and I still see it as not a crutch, but something that balances out the negative aspects of having a mental health disorder. So I think that it definitely helps to boost your self-esteem. It helps to create some momentum in your life, and to create some direction in your life, and make connections and network. But there are certain points and periods where in your health where it may be too hard at that time to continue. And part of being ill is recognizing when those times are, and recognizing when it's okay to take a break, or when to take some time off for yourself to recoup your mental health, and then go back to it when you're in a stronger, healthier position. So that's kind of my view about living with a mental health disorder, as severe as schizoaffective disorder, bipolar type, but also having really strong connections to higher education, and also seeing the positive benefits of it, and recognizing when you need to step back and take a break for yourself, and when you need to try again, and continue your journey and your path for your future. So I hope that gives some perspective about living with a mental health issue, and how to go about higher education. I think it's really important to have goals for yourself and to um, keep striving for higher education, keep striving for um, completing those goals that you have, and to work towards creating a life that you love and a life with a good career and something you're proud about, something you're proud of, and something that you value. So I hope that, even if you have a disorder, you're not afraid of setbacks, even if you may, fail a few classes. You can always go back later when you're feeling healthier, when you're more stable. But I hope that you maintain those goals, and I hope that you have dreams for yourself, and I hope that you maintain that hope for yourself, and I hope that you can share it with the people around you, and to spread that that sense of accomplishment and that sense of success, that you've made it past your illness, or you're actually working with it and accomplishing things, even while having mental health struggles. So, yeah, I hope this gives you some perspective about schizoaffective disorder or any mental health disorder in that aspect, but especially like the schizophrenias, bipolar disorder, depression. Yeah, and I hope that, you know, you can journal, you can write like Excel sheets and kind of track down certain timelines and charts. You can ask ChatGPT about, future plans, and they'll give you really good feedback. But, be careful about how much you talk to ChatGPT. But I hope that, this kind of starts a dialogue with yourself about higher education, what you want to accomplish, what you see for yourself, and the dreams that you have and the careers that you want. And never give up, even if it may take longer, even if you may have to take a break, even if you have to take mental health days. So, with those things in mind, I hope that you gained a lot from this video, and I hope that you kind of see what it's like living with an illness and still working with higher education and having dreams and working towards those dreams for yourself.